One of the things that the founders of NLP came up with was the notion that if we take in information from the world through our senses, so I take in information from the world through my eyes, through my ears, through my sense of touch, through smell and taste, then part of the way I process on the inside is I'll process in sensory-based ways. So by that they mean if I take in information from the world through my eyes, then part of the way that I'll process, part of the way that I'll think, part of the way that I'll do memory is that I'll have internal pictures. And they may not be photograph quality pictures, but I'll have internal, rough visual representations, either of things that I'm remembering from the past or of things that I'm imagining in the future. So if I asked you now to think about something that you did last night, just notice, do you get a picture in your mind's eye? Or if I asked you to think about something that you'll do next weekend, a specific something that you'll do next weekend, you get a sort of picture in your mind's eye, an imagined picture. So part of the way we think is in terms of pictures. By the same argument, part of the way we think is in terms of sounds. So if I asked you to think about that thing from last night, you may well have a soundtrack running. Maybe there were voices there, maybe there was noise, maybe there was music, maybe there was just silence. But there's maybe a remembered soundtrack. And if I asked you to think about next weekend, maybe you've got an imagined soundtrack. So perhaps you're imagining being out with friends and you can imagine the sound of their voice. So part of the way we think is in terms of pictures. Part of the way we think is in terms of sounds. So it might be voices, might be noise. And then a third way that we think, we run self-talk on the inside. So we comment on our own experience. We comment on what we've done ourselves. We comment on what other people do. We have a voice in our head. And that voice in our head can sometimes be really helpful, encouraging. And sometimes the voice in our head can be very critical. And if any of you are plagued with critical self-talk about your own behaviours, we'll show you a top tip when we come to the managing your own state part that will allow you to turn down the strength of the negative emotion that's generated by critical self-talk. Because a lot of us can beat ourselves up with the voice in our head.